how's it going? I'm Zand, and welcome to week 7 of the UNPL. We are quickly approaching playoffs, and today's battle is very important in deciding how playoffs are going to shake out. Our opponent this week is Jeremy, who is currently number 1 in the league, I'm almost sure. He is sitting at only 1 loss, and that loss was due to, I believe, multiple Ice Beam freezes, which is super impressive. And I'm going to throw his team up on the screen. If you want to skip straight to the battle, timestamp will be top of the description. But looking at his team, I can see why he's number 1. This is such a succinct, really well-built team. No major glaring weaknesses, no easy exploitable ways to break something with a certain type or a certain set. This was a hard week. I have spent more time than I would say on usual prep for this week, and I still don't like our odds, honestly. So looking at his team, I don't see Mousehold or Quilladin coming to this battle. Maybe they do. Maybe they surprise me. I'm okay if they show up, honestly. I think they're less threatening than his other options. I think Pheasantipity is less likely. I think it looks decent into some of our Pokemon, but it looks really bad into others, like Magearna. It just can't do anything. So I don't know that it shows up, but it might. He also has Mesprit, which I think is a maybe right now. It has some good utility. He could throw rocks on it if he wants other moves or items on the treads. I don't really know that it's going to show up, but it definitely could. And then finally, he's got his heavy hitters. I think his must brings, and I know there are 6 here. I'm going to be surprised. These are the 6 I'm expecting. He's got the Giratina Origin. He could run it physical or special. We're trying to prep for both, but it's kind of hard because Dragon Ghost coverage is hard to deal with at base. Give it Will-O-Wisp, give it other coverage options, give it mixed options even, and it's a tough Pokemon to deal with. He's got the Iron Treads. Iron Treads stands in the way of so many of my Pokemon just outright sweeping with its really high base physical defense and its really good typing, along with just ground and ice coverage, just deletes my team. Unfortunately, if I could change something about my team, I would throw something else on here that could help me deal with that, but we're locked in at this point, so we've just got to make do as best we can. He's got the Alomomola, Flip Turn. I think he likes Assault Vest, and I think he likes Mirror Coat on it, so we have to be super careful or we'll just lose our Magearna or our Hydrapple for no reason if we blast into it just without thinking about our moves. So we got to be super careful there. It also gets Ice Beam, so decent coverage into everything on our team. It's got the Darkrai, really strong special attacker. I think Magearna's pretty good at walling Darkrai, and then the Ursaring set we have this week is decent into Darkrai. That doesn't mean it's not a threat. It can set up a nasty plot and suddenly it's two-shotting everything. So that's a problem. The Rotom Heat, I'm going to skip a little bit. Rotom Heat, probably, in my opinion, the best way to wrap up a draft's weaknesses in one Pokemon, bar none. It's the only Pokemon that I can think of that resists or is immune to ground, fire, ice, and fairy, which is super important to a team. Very annoying to try to prep for. I can't just run Choice Scarf, Choice Band, Earthquake on Roaring Moon this week. There's a lot of things I can't run. So just a headache of a Pokemon, honestly. And I know on both Mesprit and Rotom, I think he's run Trick Scarf. So super scary because that has been used in the past, and that is a very good option to use against me and my setup sets. So I'm a little nervous about that. I almost brought Sticky Hold Muck and didn't. If he ends up Trick Scarfing one of our important Pokemon, then I'm going to be annoyed because I should have brought Sticky Hold Muck. But here we are. We can't change it now. Finally, Tera Iron Hands is a monster. I won a recent championship with Iron Hands, not counting Terrestrialization. I won it without it. Its base typing is amazing, but you give this thing the ability to turn in any type, and it's ridiculous because it already took any 2 hits anyway. So honestly, I'm expecting Terra Fairy. I just think it looks the best in my team in general. Could definitely go another defensive type if he wanted, or he could even double down into Terra Fighting or Terra Electric, kind of like Dapper did against us last week with the Terra Fighting Cobalion. I think both of those equally viable. Hard to deal with. We've got to chip it down. And so what we're bringing this week is a Shift Gear, 3 attacks, Weakness Policy Magearna. We can live any 1 hit from something like a Treads, like a Rotom, as long as it's not choice locked. Obviously, we can live super effective hits from things like even an Earthquake from Iron Hands, assuming it's not Terra Ground. So we have Sword Power, Aura Sphere, Drainicus. The best coverage we've got gives us healing, gives us, strong boosting options. We've got the Lumberry Roaring Moon. We've got Earthquake Knockoff, U-Turn, Roost. We want to be able to keep it healthy because it's our Rotom answer. Lumberry's there because a lot of his Pokemon like to status Roaring Moon that Roaring Moon wants to come in on, so I appreciate kind of having that get out of jail free card once, and we kind of expect to get tricked at some point, so having that is nice. We got the Gliscor. This one's kind of weird. It's Earthquake, Toxic, Protect, Stealth Rock. We only have Earthquake. He has 3 ground immunities. Luckily, all 3 of them don't really like being toxic. Unfortunately, like most of his team gets ice coverage, which is a big issue for us. But Gliscor was just too good here to not bring because it walls something so well. Like Treads, even if it brings Ice Spinner, I think we're okay. And we can deal with it. I'm going to skip a little. We've got Quaquaval with Choice Scarf. Pretty straightforward. Knock off, Close Combat, Flip Turn, Rapid Spin. Just decent moves all around. Decent coverage. We're just going to Flip Turn on everything and try to get our other Pokemon in as much as possible. Close Combat's just an emergency for Nasty Plot, Darkrai. And then we've got our 2 Tera captains. Tera Fairy Ursaring with Play Rough, Bulk Up, Rest Talk. I'm super excited for this one. It's super Spadef. As long as he doesn't trick us a Scarf, this guy has a good chance to just win. Play Rough, 2 shots. Pheasantipity at like +4. And it 2 shots Treads at +6, if I'm not mistaken. Bulky Treads obviously can take 2, but Treads doesn't have a way to heal itself, and we have a way to heal ourselves. So assuming he doesn't run Steel coverage, and I don't think he does, I think we'll be good. Other option, Tera BUG Hydrapple. Bug is a really good defensive type into his team because he doesn't really have incentive to run much in the way of coverage to hit us, other than fire on Rotom, of course. So I think Tera BUG Hydrapple can wall a lot of things. Citrus Berry is there for 2 reasons, really. A lot of his Pokemon can 2-shot us before we Tera, just barely, like 56 to 66%. Citrus Berry guarantees we live 2. So that's really nice. We're 3 attacks, Fickle Beam, Earth Power, Giga Drain, Nasty Plot. Very standard set. We were going to be Yawn, but I ended up liking just those 3 attacks. Citrus Berry also means that once we use it, Giratina can't Poltergeist us, and so we're a much better answer to it if we Tera. So don't really know who I want to Tera. I want to kind of look at his team, see what he's going to bring, feel it out. I know this is a longer intro, but this is a tough opponent, and I thought it was worth kind of talking out. We may just lose right away, but we'll find out, and we're going to jump straight into the game. All right, we are searching for our opponent now. Should pop up any second. He is Tera Fairy Hands, kind of as we expected. I think Hands kind of has room for electric coverage, fighting coverage, ice punch, earthquake, and Tera Blast Fairy. I think is kind of what it wants to run. Maybe AV, maybe booster attack. I hope it's not booster attack, but we'll see. So looking at his team, all right, nice. So it's pretty much exactly what we expected. No Quilladin, no Mousehold, no Mesprit, no Pheasantipity. Okay, I'm glad I didn't overprep for Pheasantipity because I almost did, which would have been pretty awkward. Okay, so looks good. Our lead is Roaring Moon. It's not perfect, but we don't really have a good lead otherwise. This is going to be a hard battle. Jeremy's good. I've watched some of his battles this season, and he's a tough opponent. He's very skilled. He actually is coming fresh off of another game straight into ours, so kudos to him for that. So team is pretty well locked in at this point. So actually Magearna looks really, really, really good here if we get it in a position that we can sweep. I am nervous about Trick Scarf Rotom. I do think that's a very possible set. Other option would be Trick Specs. Of course he wants Boots too. We do have Rocks. If we can get those up early, we can scout and see if it is Boots. If it's Boots, it's not Trick. So hopefully we can figure that out. Leads with Tom Brady. The Rotom, okay, maybe it's Trick Scarf and he gives away his Scarf immediately. This is our switch in for Rotom anyway. I don't mind if we get burned because this guy is here more for utility and just removing items than anything. So we'll just go for the knockoff, and yeah, good luck, have fun. I don't remember if I said it or not, but if I didn't say it before, I've said it now. So yeah, we eat every hit this wants to send at us, and we remove its item. Okay, nice. So we don't have to... I'm sorry. That's not a good way to start a game. Heavy duty boots. Okay, good to know. That had to have been yeah, that was no bulk and a high roll crit, I guess. No bulk, it does 65 to 77. All right, he gets a free switch into hands. Is it booster? It's not booster. All right, see you later, Rotom. Sorry about that. That sucks to just lose it. I'm guessing it probably would have volt switched, but it would have been a 30% Rotom in the back, which, you know, is helpful potentially. So that really opens up his fairy weakness now. So I could Earthquake. I do think this does Tera. So we'll U-turn, and we're going to have to figure out what to go into from here. So he does Tera. This U-turn will probably do absolutely nothing. Yeah, 8 to 9%, which, you know, chip on hands is important. The question is what he wants to click. He definitely could, like, Sword Stance here, which would be horrible. We do get a U-turn off. It does nothing. That probably has some bulk. Look into calc. I think that has some bulk because that didn't look like quite 8%. Could Ice Punch, predicting Gliscor. That does KO us, honestly. I do want rocks, I think. Rocks are pretty good. Rocks are okay. I think an Ice Punch here is pretty obvious because of our 3 ice weaknesses. But I really do like the Quaquaval into his back mons. And honestly, Gliscor doesn't really do a whole lot for us here. So if we do just sack Gliscor round, turn 2, then so be it. I almost ran Yachi Berry. Okay, it does Ice Punch. We live, though? If we get frozen, though? Hey, I mean, after the crit, I guess it's deserved, but that does hurt a little because we could have got a Toxic off. So I can actually learn a little bit about his set based on that. So, yeah, that should always KO. Oh, if he's booster. Okay. So since he's not booster... Yeah, he's max attack adamant is what I'm getting out of that. Because I did 300 on the dot. Yeah, max attack adamant. I will try to thaw. And try to get a Toxic off. We don't. Which is... It is what it is, I guess. Tera Blast me? Yeah, that's fair. It's a very good neutral move to throw into my team. Magearna is my only resistance. Crits me. That did not matter in the least. Oh man, what a game. Immediately swinging with the hacks. Hopefully all of it works its way out early so we don't have to think about it later. So I do think Hydrapple is decent here. Earth Power doesn't two-shot him because he's not weak to it anymore. But if we Tera Bug, he's not really hurting us. But that does get rid of my Tera Fairy on Ursaring for the rest of the game, which is a little difficult. I mean, other options, Magearna, that should always eat an Earthquake, but it's a little early for Magearna. But even if we eat an Earthquake, +2 Draining Kiss, I guess is healing us back up, if nothing else. You know what? Let's send it. We're not getting rocks up. I think the best thing he has to hit us with is Earthquake, so let's just go for it. Let's get Magearna going as early as possible. I'm just gonna click Shift Gear. We always live 1. It does 61 to 72, and then Draining Kiss does like a third back, so we might be able to heal back up to the point of another one not knocking us out. So hopefully he clicks Earthquake here and not like a fighting move. Close combat would be fine too, because it would reduce his special defense. Does click Earthquake. Should not ever KO us. Doesn't even get close, which is nice. We do get our weakness policy. So we are at +2 speed, +3 attack. Stored power is doing 70 to 80%. Draining Kiss is giving us 31% of our health back. We're at 138. So we're at 38%. We get 31 back. We did 62. We should live another off of a Draining Kiss and be able to stored power him after that. Does switch. Don't really know what wants to come in here. Elephant. I think this is Treads. Is it booster speed? It is booster. Okay, it is booster speed. That's a little unfortunate. So it will outrun us. I could have shift geared again, but that would have been a ballsy play. We do get back up to 200. So that's something. Do believe this does knock us out with Earthquake from here, though. Yeah, almost certainly. Draining Kiss did about what we expected. I don't think it's AV. So he does get a free Earthquake here. I do think I will go into Hydrapple on the Earthquake. If he Ice Spinners, he's a real one, but I don't think he will. So yeah, I guess Magearna, we can bring it again later to punch threads with an Aura Sphere. It's not great anymore, sadly. It at least helps us wall Darkrai. I was kind of hoping it wouldn't be booster. Okay, it does just Earthquake. We can get an idea of how strong this guy is. It does 71. Yep, that is max attack, max speed. I think I can double on the Ice Spinner. Because he either Ice Spinners here or he switches, right? Or he gets Rocks up. So I can go into Quaquaval here. I'm trying to not commit to Tera any earlier than I have to. I'm almost sure he would have Ice Spinner here, though. Like, it would kind of be crazy for him not to. Okay, so he doesn't switch. Treads is at, like, 70. Oh, sub. That's not good. So, I can flip turn. He will outrun me, but he won't know we're scarfed. Earthquake's gonna hurt a little bit. Won't knock us out. Okay, hurts a lot of it. People always talk about Treads being weak, but this thing actually does do some damage. Like, it's kind of surprising. So we know Hands is EQ, Tera Blast, Ice Punch, and probably a Stab. We know Treads is EQ, Sub. We don't know anything about the rest of his team. I mean, this eats one, but it unfortunately doesn't really do much else. I can go back into Aries. I kind of think I'm going to have to pop my Tera, unfortunately. He has to be Ice Spinner. There's absolutely no way he's not Ice Spinner. But Ice Spinner doesn't KO us, so we don't actually have to burn our Tera here, unless we get crit. Giga Drain probably even KOs him from here. Based on the calcs, I'm seeing that Giga Drain should KO. So I am just going to click that and not commit to our Tera. Because he has to play the mind games. Okay, doubles. So no more booster, which is amazing. So if we manage to get Magearna set back up, we do outspeed it next time. Okay, Hands comes back in. Giga Drain does like 30%. I'm thinking this is AV based on that. No, it's not AV. I'm a liar. Hands is just a monster. Because without Tera, this thing is a big problem for us. I could Nasty Plot. I could just hit him with Giga Drain though, and we do win the 1v1 eventually. Even if he's Drain Punch, because we will resist it after that. So I do think I will go for that. I do like the idea of going for Nasty Plot, but I think Giga Drain is okay. So unfortunately, Ursa is not going to have the ability to switch to Fairy later in the game, which is going to make it a little harder against Darkrai, but I think it's okay. And if he's Sludge Bomb Darkrai anyway, then it was a good play. So Tera Bug, really funny to see. I was going to be Tera Poison, but, you know, everything on his team can run Earthquake. Does go for the safe Tera Blast. Covers us really well. Should do like 40%. Crits me. So a little more than that. We get our Citrus. A little prematurely. I would have liked to have not have shown that yet. Looks like another Giga Drain will knock him out. Okay, this is the game of crits. We've somehow turned crits up to 100% in this game. I don't know how we've done that. But who knows? It's one of those games. So he won't knock us out. We won't knock him out with the next hit. So I don't see a reason to not just go for another Giga Drain. Obviously, he could switch, but he doesn't have any grass resistances barring Giratina, who does not want to come in here. I guess he could bring in Darkrai if he really wanted. I think he would expect me to be Assault Vest based on his team. Assault Vest did make a lot of sense. I just really like the Citrus for a lot of his Pokemon did like 55% max. So I just really like the option. So we're just trading. Attacks back and forth. This will do, hopefully, not a crit this time. Not a crit this time. That's nice. This will probably... It does KO. Okay. We're Scope Lens on our Hydrapple. Apparently. So we do knock out the Hands. Big threat gone. Multiple threats left. Actually... As long as I've played this game in the Tera meta, I've never liked the idea of a solo Tera captain, but I love both this team and Krep's team that we haven't battled yet, but they have Iron Crown as their main Tera captain, and I just think it's so much stronger than I would think, because it doesn't matter if they only have one and you know it's coming, because you can't prep for every type, and that's kind of the crux of having one big one. And I think in the future I might try that, because it is really a threat. All right, so Gira comes in. Not what I expected. Iron Hands is gone. I can't see this doing that much damage to us. Am I crazy? I mean, it gets fire moves, right? So I guess a Draco could KO us, and a Fire Blast could KO us. I mean, Magearna's not doing that much here. Magearna's not really doing anything except taking one Darkrai hit. But we have Quack in the back. Ursa could come in. Ursa can take 2 Dracos, actually, so I am going to go into that. Because I worry, because I don't see this knocking me out, but if it's like modest max special attack Draco, it would. Thunder Wave. Okay, you know, we'll take that because we are Guts. So, a little annoying, but now Play Rough is a clean 2-shot, which is kind of hilarious. And I will just go for it. Does hard switch, could go into the treads for sure. It goes into the Aloe, which we can set up on. We do Play Rough. It does decent, 30%. Oh, he's Helmet Aloe. Okay, so that actually makes me think he's got Spadef investment with how much that did. Obviously, he's never hurting us at all, so I will just bulk up once. I don't think Aloe gets any kind of Encore. Honestly, I know its move pool got gutted this generation. I don't know if it got any tools, so it does just flip turn. Probably brings Darkrai in here. But he is also scared of the Guts boosted Play Rough, so it might actually be the Treads coming in. Okay, back into the Gira. So we do get +1/+1. I can just Play Rough again, but he could just go back into Aloe and get another turn of Rocky Helmet. But I do still think Play Rough is a pretty decent play here because it does a pretty nasty chunk. And we can rest on Aloe. We do lose our Guts boost, but I think it's decent. Dropped a Draco on my face. Okay. It looks like we actually do live another. And we should do... Okay, nice. We do get the Play Rough off, and it knocks him to like 10%, which is pretty huge. I am just going to rest. I mean, I wish we were Tera Fairy at this point, but hey, we had to pop our Hydrapple when we did. I think at least one of those crits mattered on the Iron Hands. Both of them, definitely. I think if we had gotten one, we might have still knocked it out, but it was probably a roll. So I do apologize if that ends up factoring into the end of this game, but it seemed like we were just going to go back and forth, so Hydrapple would just be slightly less healthy. This should not knock me out. Knocks me to 38. He is now at -4, and we do get a rest up. Okay, that's beautiful. So Giratina is chilling at like 10%. Aloe's obviously back to full because of regen. I am going to Sleep Talk, so we know that Treads is no item, and we know nothing about Darkrai. Darkrai is the only thing we have left. So he is Draco, T-Wave. I assume Hex. I'm going to put Hex question mark. Darkrai comes in. If we pull Play Rough on the Sleep Talk, it's going to hurt. Okay, we pull Bulk up, which is okay. Dark Pulse is not doing that much to us. Oh shoot, Bad Dreams. I forgot about Bad Dreams as an ability. That's really funny. So I think at this point, Play Rough does break sub on Treads, hopefully. So we'll Sleep Talk again. Okay, whiffs Focus Blast. That definitely was something I was slightly worried about. Okay, we pull Rest that time. Focus Blast is not doing half to us unless he's Specs, and if he's Specs, it's still not KOing. So I will take this trade. hits it this time. This should not KO, according to my calc. Yeah, not even close. We wake up, go for play rough, land it. Goodbye, Darkrai. Unfortunately, now a Draco does knock us out. But we have gotten a lot of value out of this Ursa. So a little bit lucky on the dodge, but it is Focus Blast. So hitting 1 out of 2 is to be expected, I would say. Brings the Gira back in. I think a Draco is very likely here. If we'd had Rocks up, this would be dead. That's okay. I kind of want to go Magearna here, but that's just going to mean it gets paralyzed. I guess Ursa can technically rest on Alomomola, but it is kind of set up fodder for treads in the late game. I do kind of like going into this because it's not doing anything at this point, right? It's just punching Alomomola with a Draining Kiss of all things and then letting tread set up on it. So I am going to go into it because I do think we can rest on the Aloe in the late game if needed. So that was pretty huge. We do dodge the Draco. Dodge in quotations. This almost assuredly outspeeds us, but Shift Gear will be nice. Hard switches. We are Aura Sphere, and you no longer have booster speed. So Elephant comes back in. We're not boosted, so I don't know if we KO you. We should, based on the calc. So, feeling alright. I will just go for the Aura Sphere. Maybe he's Choppel. Oh no, he's Booster. I keep saying he's random items when we saw the Booster pop immediately. So I don't know what I'm saying. Do go for the Aura Sphere. Do take out the Elephant. So that's huge. I've not been keeping up with KOs. But I know that Quaquaval is all but useless at this point because we've gotten rid of everything that I brought Quaquaval for. I guess we can knock off Helmet, if nothing else. So the Aloe comes in. I mean, I could Shift Gear again because he probably Mirror Coats. I don't think he has any way of hurting me at all. I guess he could be Alluring Voice and confuse me, which would be kind of funny. Yeah, I'm seeing barely any damage. If we're at +1, +2, Sword Power is doing 25%. If we're at +2, +4, it's doing half. So we're never one-shotting this. Draining Kiss is always getting us like a third of our health back. We're taking helmet damage, and then we're taking 250 in Mirror Coat. So actually I am going to Shift Gear once here. Just see what he wants to do. Does just flip. Okay, that's fine. And so he has to go into the Gira here. I will Draining Kiss, and I will get health back without having to fear a Mirror Coat. So I will Draining Kiss. It does hard back into the Aloe. I think Draining Kiss is a contact move, so I do think we will take Helmet Chip here, which is a little annoying. But we will also get a ton of health back, assuming this is, you know, very healthy. Yeah, so back up to 268. Then we do take the helmet. Okay, that's fair. So yeah, that did like a third. He's not AV, definitely. He doesn't seem that Spadef invested either, so I'm not positive. I'm going to Shift Gear one more time, because we will get the max powered stored power. Let's see. Alluring Voice, so he does catch my setup and confuses me, which is a good win con. I will just go for stored power here because it should KO. Protects. Okay, so he's burning up the confusion turns, which is fine. We are at half. We always take a hit from this. We probably always take a Hex too. So protect, flip turn, Alluring Voice. It's got to be Wish, Ice Beam, Scald. Any of those would make some amount of sense. Are still confused. We do use stored power. Does it KO? It KOs. And I think we somehow scrape by with a win for this one. Obviously, a lot of hacks on both sides. We do actually get +1. I always forget about Soul Heart. but we do get a boost. Yeah, GG's. I know there was a lot of hacks at the beginning. We immediately KO'd Rotom instead of it living on 30% that he would have had later in the game. And then I know that we got multiple crits on Iron Hands. It got one crit back on us. So Hydrapple would have been at lower health, but Hydrapple never came back in after it fought with the Iron Hands. I don't think. So I think the hacks, although it was unfortunate, I don't know that it mattered to the end. And we actually walk away with a 5-0, which is crazy. Was that right? Did I see Roaring Moon didn't get knocked out? Ursaring I saved in the back. We had Magearna, we had Quaquaval, we had Hydrapple. So we only lost Gliscor. So honestly, way better. Went way better than I expected. I was fully prepared to lose this week and have to work my butt off to win the last 2 weeks. GG's to Jeremy. I do apologize for the hacks, but it's part of the game. We've been on both sides of it at this point. And yeah, looking forward to going on into this. I think we are now 5-2, so pretty good for playoffs, but we do want to win out our last 2, try to get as high a spot as we can. And yeah, we will see you all next week.